let's go straight into the match review. Lambeth Lions versus Wimbledon Town B. The final score, Lions 3, Town B 1. If you haven't seen this type of video before, I'm going to break it down into 4 criterias: organization, defense, midfield, attack, stroke forwards. I'm also going to talk about the key players in this particular game. I will also talk about the strengths and certain areas that each team can improve. Organization. This is a close one. So for organization, I'm going to give it to Wimbledon Town B. Both teams, I'd say, were well drilled. Lambeth were on the ropes. There was a moment where they were arguing and there was a lot of, I won't call it disagreements, but the communication wasn't that healthy. Wimbledon Town B didn't give Lambeth Lions any time on the ball, especially in the first half. They were aggressive. They were always on the front foot. Defensively, they were strong and organized. And they harried and hassled them. And it was really, really good to see, actually. It was really, really good to see. Defense. See, this is a hard one again. But I've got to give it to Lambeth Lions. Again, in the first half, very, very shaky. They got cut open too many times, but they managed to sort everything out second half and didn't concede in the second half. And that shows character, and it shows progress. It shows character and it shows progress. Wimbledon Town, defensively played really well. Jordan and Mark, especially at centre back, they did really, really well. I'd say 10-15 minutes of madness in the second half cost them the game. It's very easy to say, okay, well, because you've conceded 3 goals, you've got to look at the defence. You have to also look in terms of where the ball was lost and what other players could have done. Alan made some quality saves. The 2 centre backs, Mark and Jordan, as I said before, were strong and dominant. And I'd say very, very unlucky to actually be on the losing side. Midfield, I have to give it to Wimbledon Town. And the reason why I give it to Wimbledon Town didn't give them any respect at all. Lambeth have some quality players, like I said before. I'm not too sure if Lambeth took them lightly. Blaine, Juan put in a lot of work to really hassle, to really get in their faces. Nathan also got involved as well, and again with his presence, Lambeth didn't really know what to do. I think what changed for Lambeth, and again this is literally where the caliber of player comes shining through. I think in the second half they had player 23, I think his name's Cameron, and he just did the basic things really well. Creating space, 5-10 yard passes. His pass completion was probably about 96, 97, and he created space for the fullbacks and also the attacking players to actually go and actually attack the Wimbledon Town fullbacks. And he controlled the game in the second half. I have to say that. That number 23 for Lambeth Lions changed the game. Definitely changed the game. Again, there were times where Lions were just picking Wimbledon, and there were times in the game where Lambeth was just picking Wimbledon Town off with very intricate passing. And again, they showed their quality in spurts. But overall, the midfield for Wimbledon Town played really well. Apart from those 10-15 minutes, they battled and they hassled. And, as someone that plays for Wimbledon Town, it was very, very nice to see. In the final third, attacking wise, I have to give it to Lambeth. Lambeth are just clinical. They didn't have that many chances, probably about 4 or 5. I didn't see their first goal. I heard it was a foul leading up to the goal, but again, you've got to take your chances, and and they scored from it. I've said 10 minutes of madness on the Wimbledon Town side, but also, to be fair, I've got to call it 10 minutes of brilliance on the Lambeth Lion side. I believe his name's Jack, number 14. Scored an overhead kick. I wish I got it on film. Jack took a shot. Alan saved it. The ball bounced away from goal. Jack, as he's moving away from goal, just literally bicycle kicks it in the bottom right corner. Again, that's instinct, that is confidence. That's literally what you need from your attacking players. Their third goal, I believe his name is Ludders, ball got played through. Mark, as one of the centre backs, just couldn't get to it. Ludders got it on his right, shaped to shoot on his right. He came back on his left, and I can honestly say Jordan is one of the best defenders in Wimbledon Town, and even Jordan got flat-footed and got put on his ass, which that's the first time I've ever seen that. Honestly, that's the first time I've ever seen that. He just hammered it with his left foot. Alan had no chance. Those goals came in a space of 10 minutes. Wimbledon Town. So in the first half, Wimbledon Town should have been out of sight. I can honestly say, and again, we're not talking about half chances here. We're talking proper goal scoring opportunities. Wimbledon Town should have been 3 to 4 goals up in the first half. No questions about that. In the second half, didn't really create that many clear-cut opportunities. And against teams like Lambeth, or I'd say against any team, you have to put away your chances. Of course, you're gonna miss a few, but when these are clear-cut opportunities, and we're not talking about 1 or 2, we're talking 4, possibly 5, and you only take one of them, it does put a lot of pressure on your defensive players, defenders, and also your defensive mids, because again, those players don't get a respite, and when goals go in, people will always look at the defenders first, rather than thinking, again, as I said before, where was the ball lost? I think Ishmael had a decent game in the first half, quiet in the second. Gappy played okay. I know that he likes to come inside, but sometimes when you can come inside, you are running into traffic. And if you're running into traffic, and that traffic is a double-decker bus, a Jeep, or a SUV, and again, this is no disrespect if like you're a mini, or literally you're a kind of smaller car, you're gonna come out with a lot more damage. I think Gappy probably has to be a little bit more disciplined and come out wide and literally create space and really attack the fullback, because there were times where when he actually did that, he looked very, very dangerous, and Lambeth looked very vulnerable. Same with Ishmael as well. Ishmael's got crazy amounts of pace, absolutely crazy amounts of pace. I think he just needs to know how to control it. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour all of the time. You don't have to show your like the fullback all of your weapons straight away. And even if you do, you have to do things with a purpose. Dennis up front scored his goal, could have got a hat-trick in the first half. Didn't do that much in the second. Will came on, showed his football awareness pretty well, but Will doesn't have the pace to kind of get behind. So he needs the ball to feet more so than anyone else. Nathan, again, played better in the first half. Took some shots from about 25, 30 yards. Didn't really trouble the keeper at all. Nathan's going to be a very, very important player, and he has to connect midfield to attack a lot better. He has to do that. Key players for Lambeth, I'd say number 23 that came on at halftime, Cameron. I think Theo had a quiet game actually. Theo had a quiet game, but when he did get involved, he was involved with at least one of the goals. I'd say Ludders, his willingness to shut down players. Jack as well, the goal scorer of the overhead kick, played well. I think for Wimbledon Town, definitely Mark, Jordan, Alan, Blaine, again, a very unselfish player in the middle of the park. Just putting his body on the line, just constant running. Juan played well. If those players play like that most weeks, Town will win a lot more of the games, 100%. For Lions, I'd say their strengths, again, they're forward line in terms of taking the opportunities. If they're in front of goal, they're not going to miss a lot of chances. Areas that they can improve, they definitely started slow. So I don't know if they took the B team lightly. You can't afford to start slow in Sunday League, because you could easily be 3 or 4 goals down, and normally that's the end of the game. Just kind of making sure that their mentality and their focus starts when the game kicks off, rather than halfway through or even in the second half. Again, they were very lucky to actually win that game. For Wimbledon Town, positives, fitness, it's crazy. The game was played at a high tempo, and Town did not wilter at all. They carried on going, kept on plugging away. I'd say another positive is probably Mark playing at centre back. See, now I don't know if Mark's a better centre back than right back. That is a good headache to actually have. Seeing Mark play against quality opposition at centre back, and again he was, he kind of communicated well. He won, I say 99% of his challenges. Dominant. Again, very, very unlucky to be on the losing side. Another positive for Wimbledon Town was discipline. There was a clear shape to the team, and again that comes with fitness. I'd say something that they have to improve on is scoring goals. It's kind of very easy for me to probably talk about Wimbledon Town B, because I know most of the players, and I'll go back to the London Ravens game. If they put in the same performance against Lambeth, against the London Ravens, they would have got something out of that game. But also, let's not cover up the fact that we've only scored 1 goal in 2 games. It's not good enough. We're not talking, especially against Lambeth, we're not talking about half chances here. We're talking about Wimbledon Town cutting Lambeth open, actually creating passages of play and creating opportunities. We can't just rely on the number 9 or strikers to actually score the goals. Midfielders have to chip in. Nathan has to start scoring goals. Juan has to start scoring goals or assisting. Ishmael, Gappy, they have to start getting on the score sheet. In the final third, we have to be better. It is a work in progress. As I said before, it is a new management structure. It's a new philosophy in terms of how Wimbledon Town are playing. But also as well, let's not cover up the cracks. 1 goal in 2 games is not good enough. If we do go a goal or 2 goals down, we should have the confidence to actually feel, okay, you know what? We're 2 goals down, but we know that we've got 3 goals in us. Right now, we don't have that feeling.